Hi there, I'm Amanda Cromhote from Truth. Welcome to the Blind Loyalty Challenge. We interview world experts in loyalty blindly. We're hoping to create insight, spontaneity, and a lot of fun through the challenge. The challenge is about promoting the blind loyalty trust, and my book called Blind Loyalty, 101 Loyalty Concepts Radically Simplified. All profits from the book go towards the trust. We hope you enjoy the Blind Loyalty Challenge. Okay, so very, very happy to welcome Rich Long to the Blind Loyalty Challenge. And Rich, you have an incredible title. So you're Senior Manager, Strategy and Transformation, but for Next Gen Direct to Consumer Connections and Innovation at the most magnificent company I see behind you there, PepsiCo. So welcome to taking up the Blind Loyalty Challenge.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I'm going to go straight into it, if that's okay.
Sure.
So in the book, Blind Loyalty, chapter 69 talks all about CPG and D2C and loyalty. So in your opinion, which company in the world is getting this right and how and why?
I'm not sure if there's any really strong CPG companies who are doing this really well right now, because I think traditionally they've always been focused on selling kind of through the distribution channels. And I think those who have been speaking directly to consumers, I think that's been kind of more of a recent thing that's occurring, like what's occurring now with us at PepsiCo. So I don't know if there's absolutely any sort of like best practices or people who are leading that space right at this moment that hopefully that we will be leading that in the near future.
We'll be watching for sure. We'll definitely be watching. Definitely. And then, which industry sector do you think, because obviously you've got a varied background, but which industry sector do you think actually has the loyalty has the biggest impact on? Take any sector in the world.
Um, I think it would probably be something like, well, I think the filter that I would use for determining the level of impact would be one where the consumer has the most kind of exposure to that experience, where they can actually be a part of that experience. So like travel, hospitality, I think would be some of the top ones, retail as well, where it's not just about having, say, a great loyalty program that's very rewarding and so on and so forth, but it's having kind of a great experience, a great brand experience, a great consumer experience. And when you're a part of that, as opposed to just buying something off of a shelf, that you have a lot more that the brand needs to do to be offering up a great experience kind of in all aspects of it, both kind of the transactional portion, but also the experiential, the emotional aspect of the entire experience. So those would be the industries I would say are are probably could have the greatest impact, both positive and negative.
Yeah, and travel comes up a lot whenever I don't always ask the same questions, far from it, but certainly travel comes up frequently. And if you think back to the history of our industry, it started way back with a lot of travel with the airlines. So
Yeah,
yeah,
in terms of and also like back in history, even like a lot of the financial services companies, for instance, that they had quite a lot of like consumer data, but they weren't really offering all that great of an experience because they didn't really need to. But that's where kind of like the ones like American Airlines and Advantage program that have been around for forever, where they can actually use that data they have to really help to kind of shape the experience that they offer their consumer.
yeah, of course, absolutely. Okay, now you're quite new to PepsiCo, and prior to that, you were with another phenomenal, great big brand. So I'm also going to pick on that sector a little bit. So in chapter 78 of the Blind Loyalty book, which is 101 Loyalty Concepts Radically Simplified, in chapter 78, we have 2 pages on QSR. So what would you say can the QSR industry improve on in terms of loyalty?
I think that not only McDonald's, where I was with, but I think all of them, that it still comes down to kind of the experience and the operations that again, you can have a fantastic program, but at the end of the day, if I go through the drive-through and my order is wrong, or there's too long of a line, or if I go inside the QSR restaurant and the crew there are very rude or very uninformed, that can ruin any relationship right there on the spot, regardless of any sort of goodwill that may have been built up until that point, or how fantastic and engaging that loyalty program is. So I would say that it's really all about the entire experience when it comes to QSR, among some of the other industries that we just spoke about, that it goes beyond just kind of the mechanics, but it goes to kind of the entire experience that someone sees and experiences and feels.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the privilege of interviewing Lindsay Aitken from TGI Fridays with Friday Rewards, and she really talked to that. I spoke to her on the Let's Talk Loyalty show for Paula, and she talked absolutely all about that and how the staff actually are the core of that brand promise and that brand experience, which I'm sure is absolutely the same in QSR as well.
Yeah, I mean, at McDonald's, for instance, like among our very key stakeholders, one was the consumer, two were the crew, and
Yeah.
not necessarily kind of like one was more important than the other. They're both equally critical. And we need to make sure that it worked for the consumer, but at the same time, it worked for the crew, the people actually in the restaurants having some of that hands-on direct
Mm.
interaction with the consumer. Because if it didn't work for them, we needed them to be more than just kind of being able to be familiar and aware of what the program was, but they really needed to love the program. They needed to be champions of it as well. So how they were involved from the very beginning of everything was just critically important.
I love that they've got to love it as well. We've got a whole chapter on that as well. Loved by your people. It's so critical. So great. So you said to me earlier, Rich, that you were nervous and excited, and hopefully both of those have surpassed now. I've hit you with your 3 questions. So who would you like to tag for the next Blind Loyalty Challenge?
I would like to nominate a friend and peer of mine, Tom Kirk, with Adidas, as we say
Wonderful.
wrongly in the United States. I think he would be a great person for you to speak with next.
Thank you so very, very much. You're absolutely fabulous.
Well, have a great day. I much appreciated this.